Oh, there it goes. Look at that. That is so much oil. The Land Cruiser is down, guys, and it is not good. I have never seen that much oil come out of an engine. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to pull it. I got home the other day and I noticed that it smelled a lot like burning oil. And as you guys know, this thing's a brand new engine. It hasn't really had any smells. It hasn't had any problems. So I immediately thought that it was weird and I took a closer look. There were giant puddles of oil under this Land Cruiser. I'm talking arterial bleed levels of oil, which can only mean pressurized leak. If you look at the entire undercarriage, everything is drenched in oil. The exhaust is drenched in oil, and that's why it smelled like burning oil. So I start taking a look around the engine bay. I'm basically like, please God, let it be the oil cap. It's not the oil cap. That thing might as well have been welded on. It's so damn tight. So we start looking around a little bit more, and what I noticed was, if we come over here, you can see all that oil on that bracket for the radiator hose. And I followed that. It goes up right there behind the timing cover, and we have an extreme pressurized oil leak right there. And there's only one thing that can be. I'm pretty sure that is a oil galley plug popped out. So let's start taking a closer look. We're scoping out that area, and I definitely found the oil, but I can't really tell what I'm looking at. It almost looks like there's a chunk of metal in there, and maybe something might be cracked. I don't know how that would crack. I'm still leaning towards my original oil galley plug thought. If you look at the screen here, that's exactly where that plug is, but it does look a little damaged back here, so we're gonna pop off the AC compressor. You know, it's actually kind of ironic. I make a post on my YouTube the other day saying, hey, the Land Cruiser build's almost done. What do you want to see next? And this Land Cruiser is like, we're not done. Let me blow up so that you have more content. I'm gonna start off by removing the fan to get more access here. My plan is to clear out the area by the AC compressor so that I can get a closer look at that side of the timing cover. Then I'm going to start the Land Cruiser, watch that area, and see if the oil is indeed coming out from where I think it's coming from. And it's probably going to be. By the way, guys, I noticed that like 95% of the people that watch this channel aren't subscribed, so if you like this content, subscribe. It helps the channel out, it really does. With the fan removed, we have way better access to the tensioner and the pulley for the AC right there, and we can pop off that compressor with a lot less restrictions. Obviously, we don't have to do this if we were keeping the engine in the car, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now, it's not gonna be long before this engine is on a crane being taken out of the Land Cruiser, because when you have a leak that is that severe, and you're pretty familiar with the engine having just rebuilt it, it has to be the oil galley plug. There's nothing really else it can be. So we're just doing this to show you guys how bad it's leaking. I feel like I already know what it is, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's pop out this AC compressor. All right, we are ready to start this thing up and verify our suspicions. You can see I got the AC bracket off right there, and all that oil is pulled up right where we thought it was coming from. Those washers on that bolt are just to make up the space that the AC bracket took right there. That's a timing cover bolt, so I want to get that back in there. But yeah, we're gonna start this thing up and see if all the oil starts pouring out of that seam right there. And if it does, she's coming out. I don't have a good feeling about this. All right, here we go. I don't see anything yet. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. Oh my God. Just pouring right out of there. Oh dude, it's just a complete steady stream of oil coming out of there. It took a while for the pressure to get up to that area of the engine, but it is just coming out now. It has to be dripping all under the truck. That is so much oil. Oh no. So we are just dripping into this pan from the engine. We're just dripping right from the engine down the axle into this pan. We got a steady stream. And you also have to consider this is cold. So once this thing warms up, that thing is just gonna start going. And that is a lot of oil. All right, let's shut her down. So it's all coming right where that little pry notch is for the timing cover. And we are just steady dripping into this oil pan. You can see there's some oil coming down back there on the cardboard too. Just absolutely profusely leaking everywhere. Well, we have confirmed the location of the world's largest oil leak in my nice new engine. Fantastic. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go inside and eat lunch. But while I'm eating lunch, I'm gonna research the location of the oil galley plug on this motor, which I am pretty sure is right there. And I'm gonna put it up on the screen here, and we're gonna match it to what we saw in the video of where it's leaking from. And if everything aligns and that is where it's leaking from, we're ripping the motor out. You know, I've been talking a lot about putting an LS in this thing, and maybe this thing heard me, and it was like, you know what, fine, I'll blow up and put an LS in me then. Sell the 1FZ off to somebody else. Well, that escalated quickly. So let's go ahead and take a look at my engine here. This is actually a screenshot from one of my previous videos. The sealing surface for the seal packing on the 1FZ goes like this for the timing cover. So the red line would be the Toyota FIPG, and you basically seal like that, and that seals to the timing cover. So if this were to pop out here, or if this were to pop out here, and both of these are plugs that get removed when you take your engine to a machine shop. If either one of those popped out, they wouldn't be behind the cover. Sorry for the phone. They wouldn't be behind the cover on this side. They would be outside of the cover on the other side where all the oil would leak out. So there's also an O-ring right here, but that is for coolant. And that's about the only other place from this area that we could leak. Now we could leak from inside the timing cover here, but we're not going to get that stream outside of the timing cover when this RTV here is leaking. You're going to get just a drip or a drop that might come through it and find its way down to the ground somehow. But what we're seeing is kind of a pressurized leak. So I'm thinking that this guy right here popped out and it's just sitting there in between the timing cover and the block. Oil is seeping through right here. It's following down this path through here, and it's coming out right there down to the ground. I can't think of any other reason why the oil would be coming out except for the oil galley plug here. And also, even if it were the timing chain cover, we would still have to pull the engine, because to get the timing chain cover off, you have to remove the cylinder head and you have to remove both of the oil pans. And that is a nightmare to do in frame. It's just easier to do it by pulling the entire engine. So obviously we're going to be pulling the engine out, and that begs the question, do we fix the 1FZ and put it back in, or do we fix it, then LS swap it, or do we turbo the 1FZ, or do we do something else? And there's benefits to everything here, of course. Fixing the 1FZ and putting it back in retains the factory configuration of the Land Cruiser. It keeps it Toyota, which if that matters to you, then that's, an important thing. It doesn't matter to me that much. I'm just going to be honest. It keeps you with a smooth, well-balanced 6-cylinder that for the most part is very reliable when everything's running correctly, but, pretty underpowered, bad gas mileage. The list could go on and on and on, but it is an overall great engine. The LS swap could definitely lead us towards more power, more gas mileage, more serviceable, easier to get the parts for it. These are engines that are in many light duty and heavy duty trucks. And this never was. The 1FZ never was, but the LS is today. We could turbo the 1FZ, which sounds really fun, but you're just adding more and more parts to something that should be reliable and making it potentially unreliable. And then we have something else, maybe a Cummins, a 1HD, if someone would ever sell one for less than $15,000. There's many options here. So let's spin the wheel and see what we're doing. I mean, obviously.